Morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yuri Folarin. So, the strike has been averted for the moment. So, instead of ghost streets as a result of the strike, we shall, continue. The president will be receiving recommendations later on, and one way or the other, we'll know exactly where we are. But my guest, quickly tell you, is Ahmed Dada Abbas, a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. Good morning, and thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Are you surprised? Because the way we were going, it seemed as if Labour was saying no going back, even though it was you're not right. There's a court order, whatever. All of that now has been subsumed, I think, by this whole matter about the strike has been averted. Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised, because following the comments of Nigerians, it was very obvious that the strike was not going to have the needed effect.
You mean like by way of mass appeal?
By mass appeal,
okay.
Yes. People were already castigating Labour. Some didn't see anything coming out of it. Some felt, well, it's the usual scenario that is going to play out, that sooner than later, Labour is going to call off the strike, nothing will be achieved, life will go on, and everything will turn to normalcy. So it was very obvious.
Ooh.
I wasn't particularly optimistic that anything would come out of it.
Okay, but they held out to the very, very last moment. We're hearing about some sort of a midnight agreement, which sort of shows how long these talks, how protracted, I think is the word that they use, it was. But now we're hearing that the president will be presented to, and you look at, so whereas some people are saying, yay, we got 30,000, I'm saying, look, actually, two figures will be presented to the to the president, between 30,000 and 24,000. And the whole idea is that if the president is if he's happy with everything and signs off on it, then we move to the next stage, the National Assembly, that will give a legal backing to this. That's the process?
That's that's the scenario that is playing out. But for me as a person, yes, I was just looking at the whole issue of minimum wage, 22,000 to 30,000, and all the rest of them.
Well, 22,500 has been thrown out.
Yes.
Which is
yes. Even the debate for 22,500 naira, 30,000 naira in this present day Nigeria. We are just a nation of jokers. See, in any society, you have greed-induced corruption and need-induced corruption. I do not know how you intend to fight corruption when you are paying a man a salary that you know from inception. Do you know one single estimated NEPA bill, just one in a month, for an average Nigerian can actually wipe away the 30,000 or 15,000 or 22,000 that you have. Just one item, cost of living. Let's assume you pay somebody 30,000 naira, NEPA brings an estimated bill of 15,000 naira or 17,000 naira for a family. Just an item, cost of living. So how does it survive the remaining days of the month? And you also have a scenario where the Minister of Interior was informing Nigerians that they spend 14,000 naira in feeding a prisoner every day. 14,000 naira in feeding a prisoner. 14,000 naira. So in 10 days, you are telling me you spend 140,000 in feeding a prisoner. In 1 month, you are spending about 420,000 naira in feeding a prisoner.
Do you believe that figure?
Huh?
Do you believe that figure?
No. If it's emanating from them, let's believe them.
Okay.
I would suggest that every worker should actually apply to become a prisoner. because their life would be better off if you are spending 420,000 naira.
Going by the raw statistics.
By the raw statistics. I'm a lawyer, but at least basic arithmetic. You are spending 420,000 naira. You are telling Nigerians in feeding a prisoner, and you are contesting the issue of paying a hard-working laborer for 30 days, 30,000 naira. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Then we should please tell all workers to apply to the federal government to become prisoners because their life will be better off. I do not know the kind of country that we are in as a nation.
Well, if you look at our books, a sort of related concept, the minister of, not the minister, the postmaster general was here and was speaking about some of these stamp duties matters, some of these stamp, and they go back to colonial times. The statutes, the laws, and so it's meaningless today. And I dare say we're not the only country that has such things on our books. Sometimes you sort of forget about them, but this one you can't forget about it because it's about a living wage. And in the fight, as you mentioned, against corruption, how do you it's like it's become a white elephant. We know people can't but be corrupt, yet we say we're fighting corruption.
That's why I said there are need-induced corruption. You pay a man 30,000 naira, and you do not have excellent medical facilities. One single ailment in a family, go to a private hospital or even a public hospital, will wipe away the entire salary you are paying that man.
Which brings us back to the commentary that we heard running up to hearing that this strike has been suspended, that look, if Labour had been up and doing, had protested what you've just said, protested for healthcare, better healthcare delivery, had protested for housing, had protested the bad roads that keep us for hours on a 30-minute journey, 20-minute journey, and everybody's losing money. If Labour had been protesting those things, for example, and the like, then that would make a lot more sense, because Nigerians have been quite brutal in their commentary leading up to Labour hasn't been supported at all. In fact, there's a sense in which this strike being averted, as we are hearing now, is really doing Labour a favor, because it might have flopped. It might possibly have flopped because of the things we're talking about now. But you seem to be bemoaning the fact that even the best case scenario of let the president agree to 30,000, let him send it to the National Assembly, let them agree, it doesn't mean very much, because we observed yesterday, and I think every Nigerian knows it, that the market woman is waiting. She's just waiting to hear that it has become law. And then the pepper you bought for, was it 20 naira, a little, that mini tray, is going to become 25 naira. Everybody's going to start. The downfall conductor is just waiting. Everybody's paying attention. You think people don't know what's going on. They're paying attention to the news. So maybe the larger conversation would be about when are we going to properly address this whole matter? Do you think government can? Because, you know, government says, not government says, it is true. There are far too many logs in the fire for government, for it to pay attention. For instance, government has said outright to ASU, forget it, we can't even go there. Just, that's your own matter. We've heard it all, but put it to one side. So there are things government cannot possibly do, but that's what you elect governments in for, isn't it? To solve these intractable problems. In that sense, this PMB administration, has it done anything different from what other administrations have done about the welfare of the Nigerian worker?
You see, the problems are complex, but they emanate principally from bad governance. For me, when workers, laborers, ASU, medical doctors are going on strike, and somebody is saying, you know, the federal government cannot solve all the problems. Sir, the leakages in the system are so humongous that if we can just plug those loopholes, the public serve, a society where you use almost about 70% to 80% of your budget in feeding or probably taking care of just probably 1 million public servants, 80%, leaving 199 million to contend with how many percentage? It's like it's an upside down situation. Except you go back and redress that anomaly. A National Assembly member earns about 30-something million naira per month. Is that not it? I mean, from raw statistics, 38. I think these are critical issues that Labour should be able to, take up on behalf of the Nigerian people that have been raped, that have been exploited and cheated for too long. Because I see this as simply trying to cut the leaf of a tree, leaving the taproot. There is misgovernance. And so long as we have misgovernance in place, where the public servants use the entire resources of the state to pander to their needs, you can never have a developed society or a worker, a working class people that will be happy. You know, the Minister for Labor said that the minimum wage, if a worker is able to manage himself, the minimum wage is able to take care of his family. And I came to the conclusion that, you see, when you have access to illegitimate resources in taking care of yourself, sometimes you lose touch with the reality of what is going on. These guys are far away from the reality of an average Nigerian. Too far away that they don't know what obtains in the streets of Nigeria.
They forget.
People pay school fees.
They know, but they forget.
No.
They forget conveniently.
It's amazing. You won't see, if I have the opportunity, I will award Nigerian Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because, believe me honestly, Nigerians are one of the most resilient.
You're talking about the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Because, look, labor leaders, I don't know what the quality of leadership in labor is becoming, but when you think back to, take the current chair of APC, Comrades Adams Oshiomhole, a lot of what you've been saying, I can almost hear that's the kind of way he would have been speaking when he was in charge of labor, when he was the NLC president. You go back to Sumonu's time, you know, the issues seemed to, we had labor leaders or laborers that were really on the side of the people and were holding the system accountable. I don't know the extent to which that is being done. But Mr. George, I don't want to keep you, hold you. Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Uncle Yori, now that Labour has gotten what they want, let us hope that they will now live up to expectation. They seem to only be interested in just taking part of the loot without doing what Labour is known for in other climes. In the days of Hassan Sumonu, even Oshiomhole's days, Labour used to be interested in when the ordinary person, the downtrodden people of the society, are being, suppressed by government policies. But that doesn't happen anymore. In the face of all the corruption revelations that came up during this administration, one person having $4 billion in his account, 320 properties, budget padding is even traced to the civil servants themselves. If you know how many budgets have been padded since this government came in, it is the civil servants, and the labor people are aware of this. They are not interested in all that. As they have been given these peanuts now, they are satisfied only to go back and be happy to rip off the system. If the labor cannot represent the interests of the people, we will have to find an alternative way of getting rid of the labor itself. They are not
Mr. George,
to be useful to us.
Mr. George,
Yes,
can I, forgive me for interrupting you, but yesterday when you contributed on this same subject,
Can you speak a little louder, sir?
When you contributed on this subject yesterday, you seem to think that, look, I wouldn't be surprised if Labour was not angling to be settled or something like that. Did I get you right then? And the anger seems to continue that you are not impressed, which is what you also stated yesterday, that they're not doing the right thing. And you thought that Labour was actually just playing.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Uncle Yori, you, even a blind man can see that Labour is not really interested in the common interest of Nigerians. They're interested in their own pocket. Otherwise, why would they close their eyes to all the rot that have been revealed in the past 2 years or so, or 3 years. They've closed their eyes to it as if they are not aware. That shows that they are only interested in their own pockets. Their leadership connive with the commissioners and ministers to dupe us.
Okay.
You will see, okay, we had the last budget is 9 trillion. Where is the economy that 9 trillion naira has been pumped into, and you do not see positive results? 9 trillion is not small money, Uncle Yori. 10 African countries put together may not be able to produce a budget of 9 trillion naira in a year. Here we are doing it, and we are not seeing the result because of the way civil servants connive with politicians to rip us dry.
Indeed.
Labour must come up or live up to expectation, or they go into extinct.
All right then. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. There is no shortage of knowledge. For instance, what you have been saying, what Mr. George has been saying, as I said, was what Comrade Adams Oshiomhole as NLC president would have been saying, and more. He's in this administration. It would be inappropriate, I know, for him to be, well, he's not in this administration, sorry. I got that mixed up. The man has been in public, in governance for quite long as governor of Edo State, and he leaned on this in relation to another crisis within his party. He said, I've been there, I've done that, I know exactly what is going on, so I'm not going to sit here and let any governor become an emperor. That's a separate subject. I'm not going to build anybody's legacy for them. That's a separate topic. But the point I'm saying is that there is not a lack of knowledge on these matters that Mr. George has just spoken about, that you have spoken about. But people in frustration just sort of mentally collapse and say, this government is very wicked. Because they can't figure it out beyond that. The leakages, the corruption, the looking away, the lack of a political will to do that which needs to be done, so that, because it comes back to corruption perhaps, and not being able, I'm not saying not wanting to, not being able yet to come to full grips with corruption.
Absolutely. Look, the bedrock, one of the reasons why Nigerians actually voted Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 was simply not because he was a Harvard-trained economist. Mm-hmm. Nobody made any, there was no illusion as to whether he was an economic whiz kid. Mm-hmm. We all, as students of Nigerian history, simply know there is a consensus. There is a consensus that the greatest problem bedeviling Nigeria is corruption. And that if we do not address the issue of corruption, our growth will not only be stunted, mm-hmm. our growth will be aborted, our development will simply fizzle out. That was the only credential he paraded. And people felt, look, if 31 years ago a man diagnosed you as suffering from corruption, mm-hmm. and that 31 years later it has transmuted to corruptionmiasis, mm-hmm. then you better call the doctor to come back and finish the job he started. That was the only reason.
That's right.
That was the only reason why Muhammadu Buhari was actually. And the honest truth is that until that issue of corruption is tackled head on, because for me, an APC government that came on the mantra of change, they bought votes in Ekiti, the same way PDP bought votes. The question is, where did they get the money from?
Okay, let me bring...
you understand me?
I do. So, I don't want to lose Folake. Folake yes. in the UK is on, I don't want to lose her. Good morning, Folake. Folake in the UK, good morning. Did I lose her already?
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you now. Good morning, Folake.
Yes. Good morning, a priori.
Good morning, ma'am.
A priori, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I'm just surprised why we are all blaming the labor. Can you hear? I'm surprised we are all blaming labor. Why are we blaming labor? Is labor to fight corruption for us?
Labor could protest. Labor could protest corruption.
Folake. We are talking about NAS. We are talking about. I remember sometimes ago. That the emir of Sanusi was saying that if you just slash the salary of the senators from 36 million to 18, you will be able to employ more people and you'll be able to even pay 90,000. So do we want labor to be fighting this for us? To me, it's like we are confusing the matters. Every Nigerian should rise up. I support the lawyer man that was there this morning. The fight is not only for labor. All of us must rise against this corruption. As for me, the salary of all the members should be slashed, as the emir suggested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
All right.
That's the problem.
All right, then. I think, Folake in the UK, thank you very much.
So like I was saying, the issue still dovetail to corruption. Until we address the issue of corruption, the leakages in the system and all the rest of them, we are not going anywhere as a nation. The resources are there. If anybody says Nigeria is a poor nation, it's a lie. The resources are there. And look, Nigeria is just like an organization where the CEO comes to the office to tell the staff, sorry, we don't have money. But on Monday, you come with a brand new Range Rover. Tuesday, you call them for a meeting, you say, we do not have money. You come with a Lamborghini, brand new one. Wednesday, the same thing. You junket around the whole world. They may not have the courage to tell you, Mr. CEO, you are lying. But they will know that you're actually lying. Look, you can't have this kind of mind-boggling billions of naira being looted from where? From the resources of Nigeria, our commonwealth, and you tell workers you do not have 30,000 naira to pay them.
What do you make of Folake's contribution? That look, why are we leaving all of this to labor? How about we, the citizenry? If labor is even slack, can labor not take a cue from us and our quote-unquote militancy that, the people not go agree, they won't like this, so examine Folake's
No.
statement.
I agree totally with her, because you see, sometimes when people are commenting these days, or I'm invited to a program, behind the scene I act, I said, look, in your own private capacity, just give me one scenario where you have been able to stand on your convictions that this country must be a better country in my lifetime. Just show me one. Because, sir, I do not know how you can interface with any governmental institution and stand on ethical conviction without having a scar to show. In this country, it's a lie. If you, as a Nigerian, that you are ethical in your approach to things,
and have not suffered
and
for
you
it.
have not suffered a scar, I will doubt the reality of your convictions. That's the honest truth. None.
I hear you.
None.
I hear you.
There's nowhere you turn to.
Yakub in Dokwemu, good morning, sir. What do you think?
Yeah. Good morning, Shivyori. Good morning, Mr. Abbas.
Good morning.
Shivyori, it is unfortunately that labor settle for cheap. They settle for cheap in the sense that if labor can go ahead set this minimum wage, maybe probably they bargain for 27,000 naira as case may, because I believe government will not agree with them without 30,000 naira. And then I dare to disagree with Folake calling from UK. You know why? You see, those are Nigerians living outside the country. Usually they don't know what we are passing through. If you said we should not blame labor, who are we going to blame? Mr. Abbas, you are for opinion that you can fight the fight individually. I dare to disagree as well. You know, if you want to fight a cause, you have to have a leader that is going to lead the front for you, and then you follow suit. Why am I saying that? As to be labor protest, that if the National Assembly and then House of Representatives, as case may be, we are not cutting their salary, we are not going to work. If we are not, and as you have said earlier, that if they give you estimated bill, what does one estimated bill for a month? It will cut all the salary you get. If labor can protest that, you dare not giving Nigerian citizens estimated bill. If you cannot provide prepaid meter, no one should pay you. How do we follow? Any amount that this labor settle for, even they settle for 100,000 naira, a 2 month estimated bill like 20,000 or 30,000 estimated bill, we take all the money. What are we talking about tertiary institutions in this country? I'm talking about university level, which owned by Nigerian government. They are also paying money there, amount of money they are paying. If Labour can protest that all these schools must be free, Nigeria will follow suit. Assuming that Nigerian citizens know that Labour is there for them to fight. And then we are ready to follow them because ordinary Pengaton in this country can shut Nigerian government down. With corruption that is going on in National Assembly, we can follow them, but we think don't have a leader. Who are we to fight the fight alone?
Okay.
It's not possible. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Yakub. If we don't have a leader, so what can we do, that kind of a thing? I'm reminded that years ago, I'm sure you recall this, in Sudan, they just changed the price of bread from, apparently bread is a lot more important in there. But I've been trying to think of what is the equivalent in Nigeria. Is it gari? Is it rice? Is it elubo? But they messed with the price of bread marginally, and there was a whole uproar. It almost brought the government down. I don't know that we have any such passionate interest or conviction in Nigeria. The Nigerian is forever a pacifist. You dispossess him as much as possible, he's still trying to make it work. And that is where corruption is going to come in. One way or the other, there's the Yoruba expression about it is where you work that you eat, no matter how you eat.
Can I tell you one honest truth about the reality of our existence and experience as Nigerians? The reason why you have that kind of environment is that an average Nigerian is a mini government on its own. Look, they have never benefited from government. If you scrap government, I'm saying this, if you scrap government in whatever form, Nigerians will survive.
It doesn't make any difference.
Look, they tar their roots, they dig their water, they collectively set up private schools, private institutions. They have their security guards.
Let me take a break and come back and continue on this theme about the Nigeria is a whole government unto himself. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, and we're looking at the averted, for now, labor strike. It was supposed to be a nationwide strike, but because of an agreement that's been reached, in the wee hours, that shows how long they've been at it. Now the president will be receiving proposals, I understand, of between 24,000 and 30,000. The president will come in. Somebody has even said that he doesn't see the president going for the higher figure. Maybe they'll be somewhere in the middle. But before we went to break, we were talking about the resilience of the Nigerian. In the absence of any kind of an assistance whatsoever, he's become used to
Robinson Crusoe economy.
Just becoming a one-man government. Yes. You kill yourself to buy blocks, to build a house. You build a house, there are no roads to the place. If you can afford it, you put a road there. You bring electricity, you bring borehole, and on and on and on. I think a lot of Nigerians, unless you're part of the, less than 10% that they talk about, they have to fix themselves.
Absolutely.
They don't protest that this is not being done and this is unacceptable. They just go about their business and kill themselves to buy a borehole and so on and so forth.
The average Nigerian is actually not just asking for so much from the government.
That's why there's so many people abroad.
Yes.
They've run away to the US, to America, to Canada, and wherever.
Because the system chokes creativity. It stifles.
Even penalizes.
Yes.
Penalizes creativity.
It paralyzes resourcefulness. Look, you buy a land after sweating hard work to get a land. You want to convert your land to an asset. You need to approach the government to give you a title for a land that you bought with your hard-earned money. Mm-hmm. And for services you are going to pay for, in Lagos, for example, mm-hmm. and several other states, it takes you months to convert your land to an asset. As of today, just 3% of our lands are titled in all over Nigeria. Just 3%. And those are idle assets. You want to get an international passport, a service from the government, ask an average Nigerian. I'm not talking of the elite and the bourgeoisie who sits in the confines of a VIP office and the immigration officers run helter-skelter after you to capture you and wait and get. An average Nigerian, to get service from the government, goes through so much. If you visit our foreign embassies and see the number of people that are queuing to get visa, not for visiting sake, not for tourism alone, but to relocate. I have children in the primary school. Sometimes they come, Daddy, did you know Nonso? I say, yes, I know Nonso. He said, they have relocated. They are going to America. They are going to Canada. They are going to Australia. They are going to this.
That's what's happening now.
People are relocating.
Yes.
In their thousands.
Yeah, right.
Because for you to access government, what do you call it, government service.
It's not there.
I told somebody one day, I said, look, we have satanic agents in the corridors of public service. I'm sorry to say, I use it. I said, anytime you require a service or you have a problem and you approach any government office and you come back more annoyed, more bitter, and more frustrated than you actually went in, you actually just encountered an official of Satan in public service. Because ordinarily, you should come out happier when you have a problem and you approach. But most times, as Nigerians, you approach any government office, you always come back, more angry, more annoyed.
This is a problem that I think governments are saying some other government will come along and fix it. I think so. Adeola in Calabar, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Mr. Eric.
Thank you, sir.
Nigerian, I don't really know whether our leader, they are thinking about us at all. Because they are thinking about themselves alone. That's the problem that having in this country. If a leader can be going outside this country and see what other countries are doing to their citizens, I think it deserves such a thing in this country. We have no roads, we have no water, no light, no school, no hospital, nothing. How much is 30,000? Even if they have been on that 30,000. And you are shouting corruption. How people will not be corrupt when I have 2 children at home, I have to send them to school, and you believe I should be just holding on 30,000 naira.
Yeah.
There's no how. And you put me in a place that I can be getting money. There's no how that I will not be intimidated to get out of that money that belongs to Nigeria, to my own personal pocket. Because the money you are giving to me is not going to be enough for me. Because I don't have house to see, that I can take it if you want and get federal government gives to me. I don't have light, I have no water, I have no road, I have no car of my own.
So what good is this 30,000 going to do? What you're saying is that it's not doing anything. Even though we almost shut down government, it still won't do anything. Now that government has averted it, even if they give us the 30,000, it's a Pyrrhic sort of victory.
It's nothing for us.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling in. But we still have to have this conversation because this is what it is. We're looking for the solutions, but you've said it. Until we go back to ground zero and decide that we need to address this issue sincerely. I don't want to go into the number of oil blocks and what's going on in this country, how some people are taking care of themselves. And the people know about these. Yes. Even if they don't know the concrete, accurate details, they know that all is not well in the state of Nigeria, substituting Denmark for Nigeria. And all is not well.
And that's why when you interrogate the conversation in social media, you discover that no Nigerian trusts their government. They don't trust their government. Even when the government is telling you the truth, vast majority of Nigerians don't trust their government. Because over the years, you see, when you have betrayed the trust of someone for so long, the person no longer finds himself, the person gets to a point where even when you are telling the person the truth, there'll be a debate as to whether, am I sure he's telling me the truth or not? That's the honest truth. The honest truth is that the government of Nigeria needs to apologize to Nigerians.
Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Yori. Good morning, our guests in the studio. Good morning, sir. Welcome to after strike call-up. Thank you, sir. You see, sir, Yori, and our guests, Nigerian problem is not labor. The governor should be held responsible for our problem because Nigerians went to on the election day, voted our governors into the office and our legislators, both National Assembly, state, the local government. At the end of the day, what Nigerians expect is what the dividends of democracy. What are we seeing from local government to the state level to the National Assembly? What they are contracts, overtreat us, buying of structures everywhere, jamboree trips. At the end of the day, all this money they are using are investing. There are houses you go to Abuja then, I go to Lagos, you go to Port Harcourt, nobody is there. What we see there, snake and lizard, cockroaches, mosquitoes and the rest. And people are still looking for agriculture. Now you ask yourself, is that how we are going to move forward? 2019 is around the corner. Everybody is now going around, campaigning, how are you going to do? You see, now look at our universities. Honestly speaking, Mr. Let us tell about citizens. The military came destroy our universities because all the universities that Abubakar, Awolowo, them, Nnamdi them in those days, the structures after Nnamdi them, Awolowo and Abubakar, they have gone. What is happening now? Those structures have not been replaced up to today. Now, the present day government and the National Assembly, we are expecting at least to make sure all those things move forward. But nobody is interested. Now, after I've gone on strike, is that how we are going to move forward? Now, at the end of the day, we are producing half-baked graduates. How would you, now, Mr. Yori, I'm just telling you, I'm just begging you, please. After this program, send your reporters to all the Nigerian universities, both state, federal, and private universities, to go and get courses in the universities they are operating. How many courses are approved? That is accredited by National University Commission. I'll bet you there is no university in Nigeria today that we will not have up to 15 courses which they are running that have not been accredited. They are not approved by National University Commission. And National University Commissions are there. They close their eyes. They don't care. They will tell us that they are sent committee members to go and screen and to go and do their study. At the end of the day, they don't come. Now, is that how we are going to move forward? Every day say government. Government will come. Jonathan administration said they gave billions upon billions to universities. Nothing has been done. And today we are talking about strike and labor will want increment. In Nigeria, problem is not increment of salary. If you pay Speaker Nigeria 1 million today, I bet you before the end of that month, that 1 million will go. If the variables are not moving, that the variables are not possible, I bet you 1 million as a salary a month will not go anywhere. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Indeed, thank you very much for calling in. It's not hyperbolic, that statement. Give the Nigerian worker £500,000 naira minimum wage, and we are going to still be in the same place simply because all the infrastructure that makes that salary meaningful are not there.
Why would you allow an energy company decides to sit in the comfort of their office and give Nigerians estimated bill? And you go there to complain. They said, well, that was what we distributed to your side. Okay, including somebody that was not at home throughout the whole of that month.
That's right.
That traveled, was on vacation.
Estimated. And
it sounds crazy and criminal.
It does. And people are still...
And you have a government in place that Nigerians have been exploited and cheated by organizations.
That is, I think those are the exact words. Exploited,
it's exploitation.
cheated.
And they are also, some of them, because they are also owners of those organizations, they are beneficiaries.
That's right.
So they don't know what an average... I am on vacation. My house was shut down for an entire month.
Yes.
You bring me a bill.
You still will get an estimated bill.
And you said I should pay.
Now, even when you are back from the vacation and you go to the office and you want a meter, give me a prepaid meter. And they start giving you all the runaround so that you don't get the meter, so that they can bring the estimated bill. And what kind of a society is this?
We are running a very fraudulent society where we do not tell ourselves the truth. We shy away from the reality.
That's the elephant in the room I was talking about. Everybody can see it.
We shy away from the reality. We shy away from the reality. Now, if an average police officer, listen, let me tell you this: an average police officer buys his uniform in this country. I don't know whether you are aware.
I've heard that.
Don't please interrogate. Look, if you see 10 police officers,
they pay
check
for
their shoe. If you are going out to them, I'm giving you an experiment, sir. Check 10 police officers. 10 of them will be wearing different shoes. One bought his own in Oshodi. Another one bought it in Ketu. Another one in Jorabadia. Why would an institution that ought to be taken care of by the government be allowed to degenerate to the extent that police officers,
yes,
men and women that you told to lay down their life in the defense of their country and the defense of people, be buying uniform with their hard-earned salary. And you give them gun to go to the street to protect.
Okay, let's hear it from Samson in the UK. The strike has been averted. Good morning, Samson.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
I'm the first caller.
Actually, not so.
Hello.
We have heard from the UK this morning.
Yeah, I'm the first caller.
Okay, first-time caller.
trying to reach
Oh, first-time caller. We're delighted to have you.
First-time caller.
We're delighted to have you.
Thank you. You see, I want to commend the Barrister Bass in front of you there.
Please go on.
Can I come in?
Please go on. Yes, please go on, Samson.
Thank you. I commend Barrister Bass.
Okay.
As an erudite lawyer, I appreciate him greatly.
Because of his labor comments this morning,
Thank you
or
very much.
you met him in the law court?
I appreciate him. you see, thank you, sir.
Okay.
You see, I disagree with Folake that's calling from UK here.
Okay. In which way?
Is not the one to blame.
Okay.
Whom are they governed in Nigeria? Is it not labor people?
Samson, thank you. That's your contribution.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you. We're waiting for you. Have you finished?
Yeah, who voted for the present government in Nigeria?
Okay, so that's the point you want to make.
Are they not labor?
Okay. Okay.
Are you with me?
We are.
What are the rights of Nigeria? So we call ourselves Nigeria. What are our rights in that country? The house Folake is living in UK here is built by the government.
Same as yours.
Are you with me, sir?
Same as yours.
Same as mine. Are you getting me?
So the point you are...
Right? What are our rights? What are the rights we can claim to be our rights?
So what you seem to be saying, Samson, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Are you suggesting that there are hardly any benefits to being a Nigerian in your own country? Is that what you're suggesting?
What I'm saying is that we're supposed to have a right.
Okay. Okay.
Education-wise,
all right.
Our children, housing. Are you with me?
All right. Thank you very much for calling in, Samson. Appreciate your call. Really appreciate your call. Interesting.
No. You see,
but he's saying very much what you said earlier.
See, the value
there are no benefits to being a Nigerian in Nigeria.
The value you place on your citizens is what determines their level of patriotism. You remember Ronald Reagan, 2 Marines died in a discotheque in Germany. 2 Marine soldiers, died in a discotheque. Ronald Reagan flew in aircraft, bomber jets, all the way from the United States of America to come and bomb Benghazi and Tripoli. Why would that nation not breed very patriotic people? The government is simply sending a message to the entire world that one American citizen in any part of the world that is treated unjustly, the entire government, if we have to muster billions of dollars in revenge, we will do it.
Okay, but America is the only country, really that you can think of in that light. Can that be because, other countries are not as rich and so have so many problems in their hair?
No.
American can afford to say, what, was that an American you just messed with? You're going to hear about it.
No.
Other people that their nationals are being messed with,
yes.
What can they do?
Sir, it's a sense of value. It's a sense of value. It's not about the resources that you have at your disposal. The Israelis were held hostage in Uganda.
Yeah.
Israel came all the way from, they came. Look, it's a sense of...
I agree with you, it's a sense of value.
It's a sense of value.
The Israelis are like that.
Yes.
The Americans are like that.
Yes.
So you're saying, wow, Tanzanians, Kenyans, Nigerians, not like that. When they were messing with our guys in South Africa, shall we try though?
Look, you can't, the level of development, the intellectual development of your leaders is what will determine their approach to life.
And
Until they internalize some of those values. You see, most times when people say, oh, office change people, I said, no, office doesn't change anyone. Office is like a mirror that only amplify and brings to the reality
what was there before?
The internal values
we seem
that
to be
you already have.
I hear you. We seem to be getting a lot of calls from the UK this morning. Olalekan in the UK. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, sir. Okay.
Please go ahead.
Oh, yeah. My contribution is very simple. What Nigeria we are asking the government to do for us is simple. If they can make education free, good health, the health free, and they fix the infrastructure, security, that's what we don't need the benefit, like UK, what we do here, when they pay for benefit. We don't need it. What all this infrastructure, that is what we really need. I have a friend who works in a jail. We spoke yesterday. He told me he wants to relocate to America. It's 4 children. Now, why? How much do you earn? He told me how much you earn. Like one of your callers said, he earned more than $500,000. He still wants to relocate to America. Like one of your callers said that when they pay Nigeria $500,000, they're still not satisfied. Those governments need to provide the basic things we require from our government.
Yes.
I support this Buhari government.
Yes.
I believe they should do it. That's what they should do. That's what we really we ask for.
Yeah.
Free education, health, irrespective of the sickness. Nigerian government should be able to provide good health for the citizens. That is what we benefit from the United Kingdom here.
All right.
So that will help our country.
But Olalekan, I am sure you don't mess with payment of taxes over there in the UK, right?
Of course, yes.
The government takes a very dim view of people avoiding paying taxes, and in any case, the society, citizens,
it's true.
They pay. They pay.
Yes.
Because they are seeing the result.
Oh, okay. Because I was going.
Of course, we pay the taxes. Yes,
Exactly. Because there's no free lunch. Because we're told that there's no free lunch, actually, that free education, free health, yeah, it's free so far as you've paid your taxes. Yeah. You don't have to.
You're absolutely right, because here, the tax, you pay tax, you pay N9. N9 is N9 money they use for the NHS.
Exactly. Thank you very much for calling in from the UK, Olalekan. That was the point I wanted to make sure we don't mix up the arguments.
Yeah, the relationship ought to be symbiotic.
Yes.
Are you getting my point? But in Nigeria, the relationship is one way.
It is true.
It's one way.
You don't see the result of the taxes.
You don't see the result.
So much so that
the government
now puts little signs when they are doing any
they will they will come and collect
taxpayers' money at work.
Television fee, radio fee, or all manner of fee, shop fee, food fee, and all the rest. What are you giving back to the people? The relationship is one way. And we must tell ourselves the truth.
And in any case, taxes are deducted at source for most people, for most workers.
Yes.
It's deducted at source. But you don't really see, maybe this is part of the problem. So our guys are running off to the UK where they will do the right thing. Yeah. They go to, there's nowhere there's not a Nigerian.
Sir, let me tell you the
honest truth. And they comply.
Yes.
And conform to all the laws and requirements over there.
Do you know many Nigerians who live in South Africa says, look, once you meet the qualification for any benefit in South Africa, they are not bothered whether you are in Nigeria or you are in Africa. If they advertise for a post and you are in Nigeria and you have the qualification and you have your resident permit, they will
look at you.
They will employ you. They are not bothered about whether it must be South African. Those systems, they allow your talent and your potential to blossom. But as of today, sir, for everything you need in this country, you need to have political connection.
Yes. Yes.
And
it's a very unfair society. Let it be said.
Look, no matter how brilliant and creative you are, talented you are as a person, we just have this way of ensuring that, except you are an aristocrat, you are connected to the political juggernauts of this world, you can't find your way. No society develops in that way. What it means is that for people who their dignity will not allow them to kowtow,
yes,
we simply find their way out of the country is to go dispense their gifts and services.
Or suffer in silence. Unfortunately.
That's the honest truth.
So all of this, by the way, in case anybody's just tuning in now, it's in the context of the strike being averted and we'll see where that goes. But even if Labour were to get the 30,000 that it wants, we're looking at, so what? So what can 30,000 do in this circumstance? And that's what we're looking at. And it's something of an elephant in the room. Everybody knows it's there. Nobody is talking about it. But we know. And here we are. Look, it seems harsh to talk about somebody, I think it was Olalekan who called in from the UK talking about a friend of his who is earning something like $500,000 but still wants to check out. The truth of the matter is that in this place, $500,000, and I know it's very delicate to be talking about $500,000 when people are getting 18,000. $500,000 doesn't go very far at all. I mean, but you see, one should be very understanding in saying this, that, but the poor guy that is trying to manage on 18,000, he's not managing, he's doing all sorts of things. He's certainly not giving value.
That's why we must tell the entire world, nobody can survive on 30,000 naira in Nigeria. When that minister for labor said a worker who is able to manage himself can manage 30,000, he's living he's not living in Nigeria. He's living in the outside space.
Because how much is, for instance,
30,000 naira?
Where we are is 18,000 naira, right? That's where we're protesting about. What? That's $50, right? That's $50.
Yes, sir.
That's $50.
Yes, $50.
So, when you put stop all this thousand business, just put it in $50, 50 only for 30 days.
Is estimated bill for 1 month for one family, so he's gone. So how does he survive the remaining months? If he works in the Ministry of Works or Ministry of this thing, you can be sure files will be missing. You can be sure that files will not be in the appropriate place. When you go to look for your file, he will demand like 5,000 naira to be able to locate the files in the archive. So that's why we said you can't take away corruption in that way.
Indeed. Well, we're going to have to leave this here and see, you know, the time is around 4:30 today. They said Mr. President will be receiving the communication. Okay, we have to leave it here and see how it goes. I want to thank you very much, Ahmed Dada Abbas, and lawyer and public affairs analyst. And just to remind our viewers that, especially you guys that called in from the UK, but then generally everybody around the world, Prince Charles is in town. He's in the country. Prince Charles, you know, and TVC will cover the visit. He's in the country at the moment. As soon as we get the signals, we'll link with them, and you shall also be part of the Prince Charles visit to Nigeria. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.